Bump, bump, test, test. All right. Oh, we're getting started here. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. I've just got a couple of bugs that I discovered last night that I was too tired to work through, but here's the tweet of the week. So if you want to give that some love, do so, and if you don't, well then don't. but hopefully you do. So I'm just frustrated right now. That's why I said Chit Chat and Rants and Raves, because there's a project that I have a love-hate relationship with, because the maintainers are kind of idiot savants. They are really genius at certain things, but then fail to grasp like basic common sense about well, okay, so when you have a project, okay, first let's pop a top. I do have to go to bed soon, but sometimes caffeine helps me relax, and I think this is going to be one of those occasions. I'm not like the average person. I promise. I have intentionally drank Mountain Dew to go to sleep before. I think I'm only going to have half a can tonight. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. But it's just, oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. At the end of the day, where Google takes people is what your documentation is. And it's in the minority for sure, but there are people who will lock, they don't have comments on their documentation, they don't have an edit button, and then they'll lock their forum posts and lock their GitHub issues, and the answers may have been correct at one point, but they aren't any further, or somebody, comments, "Oh, I figured it out, thanks," or something like, and you either want to post with, "Okay, here's the answer, here's what the solution is," or, here's what to, and you can't, and then, it's a very small minority, but they're just so controlling over, where look, I get it. I get it. I tried going GitHub free. I get it. People want to own their own information, and that makes sense. When you have a product, the documentation, the community surrounding your product, you don't want GitHub to get all of that. You want to build it up for yourself. This makes sense. This is good. But the problem is that in reality, GitHub is where most people are interacting. And so, yeah, I do have to say that I am guilty of this on one project myself. I need to move it over to GitHub, because the problem was that there was too many bot accounts. What's up, Afflicted? Oh, that was just me liking it. There we go. Good. At least someone did. At least I like my own tweet. Anyway, so we're going to go back to webinstall.dev. And I put up a new sticky issue progress tracker. I kind of want to put an emoji in here or something. Do we have any progress percent? Like work, construction. Anyway. Oh. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to myself. That's who I'm talking to. But you happen to be here, so I'll talk to you too. I'm just coming here to chill while I work on my eBay store. Okay, cool. Devs from the GNOME desktop are equally as snobby. Yeah, well, okay, this is the thing I was going to say. I didn't get to it because I'm tired and I need to go back to sleep, but I needed to cool down. The house is too hot. It's cold outside, but the house gets hot during the day because of the sun. Anyway, the thing I was getting to is that when you maintain a project, you get snobby. And the reason is resentment, because you're contributing something of great value. You feel in your heart how great value. So, and I've had a project that was the most popular of its kind that got millions of downloads, or at least 1 million downloads. I think by now that's probably gone into the millions. I haven't checked in a long time. But the thing is, you pour your heart and soul to this, and then people just want stuff from you without wanting to give you anything, or rather it's your fault because you haven't set up a way for people to be able to pay you. So that's your own fault. That's the growth of an open source developer. Is you have to realize that although you have passion for your project, you suck at making yourself successful. And so you tend to take stars as a measurement of success. So see here, oh, look, I got a bunch of stars. And so then you get star grabby. And then you get frustrated when you don't get appreciation that you deserve, that you feel like you deserve, And you want people to use your project a certain way, but that's not necessarily the way that they want to use your project. And so if you're not perfectly centered and making sure that you're doing your project for you, or you're doing your project for other people. If you're doing your project for you, then you just gotta ignore other people. And you just do it the way you want, you ignore other people, you move on. You say, I put it open source, you can use it if you want to, don't use it if you don't want to. This isn't, I'm not trying to star game here. Or if you are trying to make it for other people, then you need to charge them. You need to say, okay, this is my, what do they call it? Entry fee. What's it called? Cover charge. This is my cover charge, right? If you want to be part of my community and you want to exchange value, here's the cover charge for us to start exchanging value. So it's really difficult. It's really challenging, but it's my top pet peeve when people gatekeep the information because they're trying to capture their community unto themselves. Because it just makes it a worse experience, and you can't, it's the XKCD that I just had pulled up. I'll bring it back up. Where was it? I'll leave that up. It's this thing. Never have I felt so close to another soul, and yet so helplessly alone, as when I Google an error, and there's one result, a thread by someone with the same problem, and no answer, last posted in 2003. Who are you, Denver Coder 9? What did you see? But this is the problem that I'm talking about. So anyway, but that aside, let's get on to some Webi issues. One, I can close out the Procker. I'm closing as sticky. Okay, so this is my number one priority. Is PyEnv was still trying to use Pathman. This is a failure of, we don't have a good automated testing solution for this. It's not intuitive, at least not to me, how we should do it. And we don't have one in place, and so sometimes we make a change and something slips through the crack, and there was 3 installers that somehow I didn't catch, they still had Pathman listed in them. So I've already got the fix in place. I just need to verify it and actually deploy it. So give me a second while I go find that. Good old Mountain Dew. And as you know, I'm not exactly the most friendly and easy to get along with person in the world. I'm kind of just like, I'm over it. It's not for the better, but just, I get so frustrated, especially with all these young kids. They have no idea what they're doing. They weren't around for, they don't remember back when web pages just worked, a lot of them. It just gets frustrating sometimes. Okay, also, I think we have a problem, because I'm trying to get into this, and I'll check comments in a second here. I know that there's some comments coming in that I'm not seeing, so just give me a minute on that, or I haven't read. I saw them pop up. Okay, so that's working, but this is not working. Why is that not working? Why can I not get in? Okay, now I can get in. I think I think I'm going to go to, was it PV3, I think? We're going to go here. So, I think, is this where I have it? Webi next? Oh, no. The thing that I was thinking about earlier is I think that I'm wondering if our router's overloaded. It says CPU is nothing, but RAM's really high, and I'm noticing some finicky behavior. Okay, another thing I need to get is XCaddy, because I need to upgrade Caddy. It turns out there was a bug in Caddy that I believe that I need to fix, because I was noticing this somewhere else too. There's some bugs with the reverse proxy behavior that were introduced in 2.7, and it broke something. Anyway, let me go ahead and read comments. You got to supply what's in demand. Well, yes and no. I know the feeling. Worked my butt off on projects that turned out awesome, but the demand wasn't there, unfortunately. Yeah, well, I think it's a different type of heartache when the demand is there. Because you find out that people don't love it the way that you do, or they want to use it differently. And yeah, if it's a business, it's a lot simpler, because it's like, hey, I paid you $100, so, you know, I expect this thing's going to work and be bug free, or $200 or $300 or $20 or whatever it is. I get that, but when you give them a merge request that actually fixes their issue, and they do one character assassination after another, yeah, instead of accepting the merge request. Are you talking about, which way are you talking about? Are you talking about you as the maintainer do the pull request? So I used to be on board with the term merge request, except that you should never be doing merges. You should be doing rebasing, and rebasing, the correct term for that is actually pull. So pull requests historically is wrong, but contemporarily is right, because historically, when GitHub created it, well, actually, it was a pull request, and then it was a merge request, but they kept it called pull request, and now it's actually should be a pull request again. You have to go into settings to turn on rebasing, but rebasing was quickly, they realized what a crap hole merges were, and realized, oh crap, this is a really bad way to do this. We should have never done this. This was bad. This just results in frustration and pain and conflicts, and it's very confusing. And then they introduced rebase to fix all those problems, and then people never adopted rebase because, well, it wasn't profitable to do so, because GitHub would have had to update their documentation to, show git switch, git rebase, rather than git merge and then git checkout. So anyway. Yeah. So I don't remember which way I said it, because I was going to say both. I was going to say that when you as the author fix the user's problem, or when you as the user fix the author's problem. Yeah, I learned that lesson fairly early on. I spent an entire weekend going through a person's nitpicks for a popular auth project, and I submitted a bug fix. And then he was like, oh, I don't like the name of this. Name it that. And then I submitted it again. And he's like, actually, we should name it this instead. And then I submitted it again. He's like, actually, that should be moved to line 7. And then I submitted it again. And I literally spent at least 12 hours dedicated to going through his code, the poor documentation, which everybody has poor documentation, going through, getting everything fixed, and then him never pulling it in after all of his stupid little, this is the thing. If you're a maintainer, you're the only person who knows exactly how you want your project. So if somebody gives you a PR that is essentially a proof of concept, but it fixes the problem, there's a problem and their PR essentially fixes it, pull it in, and then refine it yourself at a later time. Because then it fixes the problem. If you're like, on line 7, this variable, I'd rather it be named foo than bar, but it's an internal variable that no one is ever going to see unless they look at the code. It's not, you're creating a new public API or something, whatever. And even if you're creating a public API, you can alias things and then just remove the one that you don't like from the documentation and leave the one that you do, and it'll be fine. Your humorous attempt was blocked. Oh, it's because it was a URL or something? You seem a very reasonable person. Well, until you get to know me. I fixed it and sent them the fix, but they insulted me. Yeah, that happens. What's wrong with merges again? They clobber the Git history, and they always result in conflicts. If you do rebase, it's never possible to get a conflict on the publishing side, right? So when you rebase, your PR is guaranteed to go in cleanly without any additional effort. And the Git history, they actually have a checkbox for this. I'll show you. This isn't what I was going to do, but since we're here and we're having a good time together, everybody, I'll go into this. So you go under settings, and there is, oh yeah, require contribute. I don't know why that wasn't checked. I don't know that we really want wikis. I think I'm going to turn that off. Let's see, preserve this repository. Discussions. I kind of want to turn discussions off. I think I want to turn projects off. How did I not turn that off? Yeah, so you can go under pull requests and you can just undo allow merges, and then you can allow squashing and rebase. And a squash is just a type of rebase. So rebase just means that you look at the commit history and you decide which commits go in, and you can put the letter F to fold one commit into another. So if you've got 5 commits, like update readme, update readme, update readme, update readme, then you can just fold them in, and that's called squashing. Well, actually, squashing is technically different, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Rebase is really, 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 really simple. So much simpler than merging, because you're just taking the commits and you're replaying them on top of the other commits. It's not trying to like intertwine them and like match the head and then make it fit. It just replays them one by one. However, if you want to start rebasing a project, you need to get everything merged to a single point in main or master, and then you need to rebase from that point forward. Because if you were to decide, oh, okay, I've had this project for a year, and today I'm going to try rebasing a pull request, what you're going to find is that it doesn't work, because you've been maintaining branches separately and then merging them. So, anyway. Boop. Automatically delete head branches. Cool. So there we are. Anyway, I'll continue on this, and I need to get in here. I've already got the fix. So let me see what branches are open on this right now. There's 25 open branches, but most of them can be taken over. So the caddy placeholder was merged, the doc caddy was merged, the serviceman documentation was merged. That one is still new. Fixed pathbend leftovers. Let me go ahead and just look at all branches, because that view isn't actually helpful. We did the PowerShell stuff. We fixed the PowerShell. Lots of PowerShell stuff we did. That was way cool. All right, Fuff got in. I'm not going to delete that yet, because that Buster Olds, this one. I'm just basically the ones that Dash Core, we could probably get rid of that one because it's so far behind. I think it's how many behind, how many ahead. 3 commits ahead, 4 commits behind. Yeah, that's how it is. So you can see this one, Docs Cat. Interesting. I think I replaced this. I want to take a look at this one real quick, though. Yeah. I think that all of this information was finally... Yeah, I'm going to... Did I reference this? What? Hmm. I think I included all these updates in the most recent PR. I just forgot to actually close out that pull request as I was doing it. Anyway, so let me go back to the branches again, and I just wanted to look at the branch that is the most, this one right here. That's what I need to be looking at. Oh, and let's get some light on my face so I don't look like a zombie. Although I've been sleeping most of the day because I was up all night last night. So my hair is messy, but it's okay. It's the mark of a champion. Okay. Programmers always have good judgment. He was probably right about the naming. Yeah. If there's something programmers are good at, it's naming. Linear Git history. Yes. Sorry, I didn't even show it. See, I'm only running on a couple cylinders. Linear. If you have linear history, you must enable squashing or rebasing. Yes. So I think it's under branch protection is where it is. So if we go, sorry, I went really fast on that. Okay. It's settings. You go to project settings. You go to branches. You go to your main branch, or you might have to add rule and then add main. And then you click on edit and then require approvals, require review, require checks to pass. So I added checks that must pass. So socket security can't fail, and the fumplant and test can't fail. Require signed commits. Require conversation resolution before merging. I think that's a good idea. Require linear history. Do not allow bypassing the above settings. This is important with small projects because you, as the maintainer, will often accidentally push to main when you didn't mean to. So. Oh, do I need to put my key in? I've got too many things on my desk again. You could see it, it's an absolute mess. See, this is the true beauty of YouTube, is that, oops, people just see the cool display behind you, and they don't see is the Mountain Dew cans on the floor, the amiibo on the desk, the Mountain Dew cans on the desk, the Mountain Dew cans on this on the ladder, network problems again? No, not today. So if there is a problem, let's see. Zero dropped frames. Zero dropped frames. So we're good today. I did the reboot. I like to force myself to review my own code. I haven't done that. But what I do is I force reviews. Webi is a fairly popular project. I want to at least have other people's eyes on stuff. Also, it keeps me engaging with other people to have reviews. It also has encouraged me to make issues and then let other people solve the problem. So I mark a lot of stuff as good first issue, whatever, and then other people come in and solve the problem. And then they might do a bad job, and then I just fix it and move on. But then, it's part of the game, right? It increases the star count. It increases the number of forks. It increases the number of contributors. Right? So, it's in that regard, it's all part of the game. But by all means, if you believe that Webi is a good project, I mean, check it out. Actually, I won't even link to the GitHub. I'll link to Webi itself. If you believe that Webi is a good project, if it solves a problem for you, first consider using it to solve your problem, and then leave a star. So why Webi? Basically, if you've ever done apt update or brew update, that's why Webi. Because when you want something, you want the latest version, and you want it right then. And you don't want to have to sudo, and you don't want to have it potentially upgrade some other dependency on your system that potentially breaks something else. You don't want anything to be clobbered. You just want stuff to update and to work. and to be able to switch versions easily. I want to switch between Node or Go or PowerShell or Python versions, between 2 and 3 or whatever, between Node, between 18 and 20 or 16 with Go. I don't know why you would ever need to go back. I guess there have been tooling breaking changes because they're not covered by the compatibility guarantee. But yeah, you can go back and forth very easily. Also, if you want brew that does not screw up your system, now this follows the instructions from brew, it's on their page, but it's just not what most people know about. So this will install brew to .local.brew, which is an officially supported method. It's on their webpage. Then it doesn't do sudo. It will cause more things to recompile, but you're going to have a better experience overall, and it's not going to clobber in the way of system paths and stuff like that. Because when you put it in user local, then sometimes, because that is in system paths for includes and libraries and stuff, and so sometimes things break and don't work. So I've stopped using brew for a long time for that reason. But now I use brew as needed, but everything's right there, and if something goes wrong, then I can just get rid of this directory, just one directory. I don't have to go find, the 3 or 4 different places brew leaves its little cookie crumbs. I just delete the one directory, and then I can brew install from scratch. So brew is on there, but yeah, lots of good tools. And then Aliasmin, is Aliasmin not on here? Oh. Okay, system utilities. I put it under system utilities. It should probably be up there with developer utilities. Or like maybe shell tools. I don't know what I would call Aliasmin. But I don't know that it should go down here in system utilities. I think I need to rethink the system utils. And I need to add a bunch of stuff. We have yeah. Anyway, so it's just quick way to get tools installed and to have them. Typically, I try to avoid doing any configuration. There are some times when I've broken that rule for specific reasons. Like the thing doesn't work without having a config file with certain values in it, or it doesn't do the thing that you're obviously installing it for. So I believe Delta is one where it either automatically, I don't know if I automatically add it to git config. Yes. So if you're installing Delta, the reason you're installing Delta is to put it in your git config. That's the reason you do it. You don't install Delta for other reasons. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but we're gonna install it from the normal place anyway. So there we go. Didn't have to do an update. Didn't have to wait a long time. Didn't have to use sudo. It just, boom, it updated. Oh, whoops, and I did that in the wrong place. So let me go do that here instead. Okay, so there it is. Now it's already installed on my Mac and it's configured now. If I go into a project directory, that's not a good project directory. Let me think of another one. I could go into root, and we could go into, was it caddy control? No. Which one should I go into? Rocks? No, BNNA, sorry. Ah! Okay, so now if I did a diff head 1, oh, did it not actually do the thing? I installed Delta. Let me make sure that Delta. Is it just that my... Is that doing the right... I don't think that's... Something's off. Git config. I mean... Oh, how to manually configure. Okay, did I... Okay, I think it is doing it. I think it's just my theme is conflicting with its theme, and so we're not seeing it the way that I was expecting to show it, but... Or maybe I'm just so used to the way that it is that I forgot. Anyway, whatever. moving on. Moving on. So what I wanted to do was just go in here and get some fixes in. Do you want a software version of that YubiKey? Because I got one. Actually, no, I don't. But I do because I want to know how the exploit works. I don't in that I set up the YubiKey on purpose. It's nice. I don't want to register a software version. I like that I plug this thing in. And when I'm on my laptop, it's great. When my desk is clear, it's great. When my desk is cluttered, it's hard to get to the little USB thing. Yeah, well, if you hate Brew Update, then what you might really, really like is webinstall.dev's brew. You don't have to use webinstall. Well, you kind of do because this installs with it, but brew update service install. So this one is not something that is installed with brew by default. What this will do, and I'll go ahead and do it because I don't think I've done it on this computer yet, but whoops. Shouldn't have done that one. Hold on. Let's see here. .local opt brew. I need to change this. I'm going to make an issue to change this. So this should be command-v brew. Yeah, it should just go up 2 levels. Anyway, what this does is it updates brew in the background regularly. And it doesn't really matter which directory it's working from, other than that it could fail to work when the directory doesn't exist, so it should be the brew directory. So I'm going to make just a little issue about that real quick. So, brew should use its own directory for service installer. We should explicitly work dir dir name dir name. Okay, that's just silly. I'm going to be realistic. It's going to be in .local up. There we go. And then solution, problem. And then I'm going to mark this as something. Change. Easy. Change. Brew. Install. Alright, and then I can map out exactly what needs to change here. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Brew. Update service install. Okay, so this is going to be copy permalink. There we go. Copy permalink. And then I can set this to be, whoops, not assignees. We can call it Good First Issue, Hacktoberfest, up for grabs. And this one is super easy. I'm gonna throw first timers only on there. Okay, so if anybody here wants to take this, feel free. Ah! What happened? No! Dang it! There we go. Super easy. Somebody can claim that for Hacktoberfest. Okay, am I ever going to get to the thing that I actually started for this? You don't have Touch ID on your Mac? I do, but the beta version of Brave... So I have 4 browsers. I have Safari, I have Brave Stable, Brave Beta, and Brave Nightly. The Brave Stable works with Touch ID, but the Brave Beta and Brave Nightly do not, and I think it has to do something with the signing and the install method. But for the longest time, I didn't know that Touch ID was a security key, because the documentation for all these sites is so terrible, because they want to call it by, you know, some technical name. So like FIDO2 or WebAuthn or, you know, security device access, when what they should say is Windows Hello, Apple Touch ID, Linux WebAuthn. Like, they should use the brand names, and I don't know what Linux's brand name is. That's why I just threw WebAuthn under brand name, because it's the best brand name of the FIDO stuff. Because it originally was called FIDO, but now they've changed the name to WebAuthn because it sounds less stupid. Anyway, you know how that goes. All right, so I switch over to main. By the way, have y'all do y'all know that you should be using switch now? It's so much simpler. Oh my goodness, switch and restore, so much better than checkout. So checkout has been deprecated because it's overloaded and it did confusing things. You know, sometimes you have to add the double dash and this, that, and the other. So I once I realized that checkout had been deprecated, I switched over to using get switch and get restore. So much simpler to use. I mean, it's just problems that you didn't realize that you had just go away. Or, I mean, once you start using get switch and get restore, you realize how much simpler they are. But it's difficult to communicate it because it's problems that you're having that you don't... It's like, if all you ever drank was muddy water and somebody offered you a glass of clean water, you wouldn't necessarily appreciate it because you hadn't tasted clean water before. That's what I'm talking about. Like, get checkout is so overloaded and so mentally burdensome to use, and get switch and get restore are so simple because get switch switches or creates a branch, -C to create the branch, not -C to switch the branch, and then get restore will restore a file. So get restore, get reset, or get reset, get restore. And then you can restore from another branch by doing --source. So it is, I am so glad, because I knew about it for, well, I think Mac didn't get it for a year or two, and that's why I wasn't using it, because it wasn't accessible. And then if you've got an old VPS, you know, an Ubuntu that's from, you know, the 16 LTS or the 18 LTS or something really, really old like that, it may not have that version of Git. But if it's in the last I don't know, 3 or 4 years, maybe it should. Because Linux got the Git updates a lot sooner in general. Anyway. So rebase, in general, that's what rebase looks like. You know, in the good case. And then you can do git pull dash rebase. I always have my git pull set. To rebase automatically. Anyway. And then you will have to get force push a lot, which people say, you know, well, don't get push, don't force push, but you don't force push to main or master. That's where you don't force push. Feature branches, force push them, you know, all the time. Muddy water. Yum, yum. Yeah. Whoa. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Wow. I'm guessing there was a raid again. I've gone back into the raid settings to try to configure to show the notification. Raid. Boom. Have the nice sound effect. For whatever reason, it doesn't ever work. But thanks for the raid. Hey, Strager. All right. Thanks. Yeah, I just saw all of a sudden the view count went from 4 to 40. Okay, so get cherry-v. Cherry-v is another one of the ones where it's like I use it all the time, but I didn't know I was missing it. And then get rebase-i. Whoops. Oh no. Curses. Hold on. I need to add this command to Vim Essentials. So I always forget how to switch to Vim default editor. Hopefully the Stack Overflow post pops up because I've answered this myself. How to automate setting Vim as default editor. I'm gonna explicitly put in Stack Overflow here. Okay, I'm just gonna go and see if I can find. There's probably a way I can look at questions I've answered in the last 6 months. Let's see, my own answers. Can I search these? Vim or edits, really, because I probably just edited something. I probably edited somebody else's thingy. Can I search this? Is there a search? There should always be a search when the list is longer than, well, 1. Whenever it's a list, there should be a search. Okay, tags. Can I look for Vim? Come on, man. All right, it's okay. I'll just search Git, and then I'll swap it over to Vim. You've got to be flipping kidding me. All right, we'll do the AI powered enabled search. Yeah, okay, great. Automate setting or non-interactive, I think is what it was. Set Vim as default non-interactive. I am so sad about this. I wonder if I put it in my own personal cheat sheet. Let me open up Bliss here and see if I got it in my own personal cheat sheet. So it's not the editor equals Vim, visual equals Vim that I'm looking for. I'm looking for it's called this is what it is. Update alternatives non-interactive Vim. You've got to be flipping kidding me. There's no way that there's not a thing for that. All right, let's see if I've got it in my own Vim cheat sheet. Bah. Yeah, update alternatives. Did I misspell it or something? This might be the one. Is this the one that I edited? I think that this is the one that I had edited, but somebody else must have edited it since I edited it. Oh my goodness. If that's the case, this would be long ago. All right. There was a way to do this. I'm going to figure this out right now. We're not on a time crunch or anything, so might as well. Okay, the thing that's frustrating is I actually went through the documentation, I figured it all out, and so if I could do a search for this exactly, and I could find the one that I edited or answered, and I think I would have used the term non-interactive. I don't know. It's okay. I'll put it in my own notes. I have some other notes, but these are my Bliss notes. So I do have other notes for Vim, but most of it's just things like I learned 1 or 2 things a year. And so now over the course of 15 years, I know 15 or 30 different things about Vim. All right, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, alt-dir, install-dir, root, for skip, quiet. I think it's set, name, path. But I had some way to do it so it just worked from the list. Get selections. Maybe that was it. Maybe it's get selections. Nope. But I had some way to do it so that I would just put in, like I didn't have to set the path. Let me try this. Set editor Vim. Maybe it was like, I hate to do this, but okay, vim dot full. Oh, this is so frustrating because I went through the work to do it and I didn't document it in a place where I'd easily get back to it. Okay. Set. Yeah, so that's what I just did. But you shouldn't use which. You should use Command-V. Command-V is POSIX compliant. Which has different behavior on different systems in terms of whether it writes out to standard error or standard out, and what the exit code will be under various conditions. Command-V is POSIX standardized to guarantee whether it's writing to standard error, standard out, and the exit code being 1 or 0. It's always very difficult. Let's try Cool Age 86. Okay, first one is this one. Second one is this one. It has Config editor, that's not what I want to do. Set editor, vim.basic. That's it. I swear I myself edited one of these. Because I remember putting out the full list. Because there was, it was like this, and it was like this, and it was, you know, whatever. Whatever. But that's the thing. Because I didn't want to use the absolute path because it could be different on different systems. Okay, let's try this. Command-V vim.basic. Is that okay? That's probably what I did. Okay, and then permission denied. But it would be nice to know how to do this at a user level without having to get sudo involved. Set Vim as the default editor, non-interactive automatically. And I'll put this documentation up somewhere eventually. Then the other thing that I wanted to know how to do was, okay, set user's default editor. And I don't think that it actually is this. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, so, but that being the case, here's something people don't know. You don't put it in your bash RC, you put it in your profile. But then you would also need to put it in... Ooh, this is going to lead me to creating Ian V-Man. All right. So what I need to do then, let's try this out. All right, let's actually set this back to nano. Blah! What? User bin nano? What was the list then? Interesting. Okay, so I guess that actually shouldn't be the case. It should be literally user bin vim.basic. Don't use command-v to find it. Whoops. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so in my dot profile, see, it's interesting. I've seen it both ways. I've seen it go that your bash RC will source your profile, and I've seen it that your profile will source your bash RC, bash RC. Regardless, it needs to go before I open up my editor or my my shell, but there we go. And I actually prefer to have it be VI because that makes sure that everything is actually set correctly, that VI is alias correctly and all that. So anyway, all right, we'll move on to some more interesting stuff in just a minute, but I'm going to get out of this and then open it up again. And then we're going to do, let's go into serve, dev, push D installers. Status. Okay, so what was I gonna do? Rebase dash I main. See, it didn't work. Alright, so I'm going to put this into... I'm going to creatively call it env.env. Alright, so let's try it again. And it could be that .profile was already loaded because I think .profile is on login. And then maybe it's .bashrc is on every new shell. There's some weird rules for it. I can't hold them all in my head. But let's just see if putting it there as well. Okay, that worked. Okay, so I need to go and make sure, yeah, pathman add, that's correct. Bootstrap. So this is not correct, but I don't know if that matters. Does bootstrap.bat ever get used? I don't think that it does. All right, bootstrap, PS1. All right, that's what I thought. So originally, before I discovered the true nature of PowerShell, I did try to do this with Batch, and that was terrible. So now webinstall.dev. Oh, by the way, since I got a crowd of people here, I am totally going to shill. And, you know, because I can only get stars. You can't unstar me for shilling, right? So give me just a second and I'm going to shill the shillings for what I'm working on here. What was it? Webi. I'm I think I'm what is my character a chaotic neutral? What are the character classes? Character alignment, not classes. Character alignment. Okay, so I'm definitely not a lawful evil. I think I would be... I'm definitely unlawful. I think I'm unlawful good? Is it chaotic good? Yes, I am chaotic good. Well, I don't know about kind. Benevolent, yes. Kind, probably not. Yeah. Yes, yes, I am chaotic good. This is me. Okay. What is chaotic neutral? And then this lawful evil is the one that I really want to understand. Ah. Ah. Okay. I get what lawful evil is now. Lawful evil is, well, don't take this the wrong way. Ben Shapiro. He's Jewish, and so he follows the Jewish law, all 642 things of the Jewish law, verbatim, exactly, without deviation. But outside of that, he doesn't have a moral compass. Well, that's not entirely true, but I don't think of Ben Shapiro as an evil person necessarily, but when reading this description, I don't think of him as a villain. So no, okay, I take it back. I don't think that he's an evil, villainous person, but I guess he would be a lawful neutral. Anyway. Okay, so now that we know what my character alignment is, and we know how to open the visual editor in Vim, now I will shill. So, webinstall.dev. This is a project that I maintain along with Jojo and Ryan, and there's more than what's listed here, actually. And I need to update this list to reflect it. I don't put everything on the homepage because some of the stuff I'm not sure about yet, because I accept a lot of projects that are, less than 100 stars. And so I don't know if those authors are lawful good or chaotic good or chaotic evil. So I don't want to promote things that I don't have a very strong internal feeling about. So I don't put everything on the homepage, but there are some things like XSV, which I've recently added, that definitely belong on the homepage. But this is just kind of an overview of different things that are available. SSH PubKey is a good one. Caddy is a good one. Vim Essentials is a good one. There's some extras, Vim Airline, useful additions down here. If you want to install, this installs quickly without sudo or admin, without a package manager, without changing file system permissions. It's conflict free. And there is an FAQ that, why Webi, why not Brew, why not Chocolatey, why not a package manager? My mother told me not to run with shell pipes. How does Webi work? How do I update a package? How do I install Webi? How is webinstall.dev secured? So there's some of that. But what I want to shill, the letter L? Oh, interesting. Oh, because the FAQ is not actually a page. Got it. That's why. Because this is dynamic and it responds to the page that you're on. And the FAQ is a special page that does about us, and FAQ don't actually go anywhere. But that's okay. Anyway, point is, I'm trying to get to 1,000 stars. Almost there. Almost there. So close. Actually, I'm trying to get 1,100. But 1,000 comes before 1,100. But anyway, so if you want to, first, don't start unless you try it out and you find it useful. But give Webi a try. Give Webi a star. So, for example, if you do Node, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. If you do Node development, okay? You do Node development, Webi, Node. Boom. Let me get the earlier version, 18. Boom. Nothing's faster than that. And unlike NVM, each node install is separate, so it doesn't have conflicting global dependencies. So this does mean that I have a little ditty that I have saved in my history that I run when I want to reinstall things. So you can see, that's not one that I commonly do, but I just keep it in my shell history like this, and then I will go rerun this every time I switch versions with my common global tools. And I'm going to go back to, so actually this is LTS, is 18, but I need 20 because there's a few features that landed in 20 that I need. Normally I stick with LTS, but I'm going bleeding edge for the next couple months while some of the stuff gets sorted out. Anyway, so yeah. And then, so you can switch versions easily, get Dino. There it is. Boom. You got it. Bun. Boom. Got it. Postgres, whatever it is, Caddy, Rust, you name a development tool that's a daily driver for you, JQ, YQ, Hexel, boom, latest version. Got them all. It's the Pokemon trainer of developer tools. Nerd font also, which I already have nerd font installed. You might be able to see that because if I do. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't have my alias set up yet. I have my alias set up for tree, but I don't have my alias set up for ls. Oh, and then aliasman to manage your aliases. So ls, whoops, ll. This computer I didn't finish setting up yet, so there we go. Boom. So now you can see I've got nerd font installed. It's got all the things. Anyway, am I Jewish? I am not Jewish. No. I am Christian and I respect Jews. And so I don't mean anything negative by my comments, but it has been, I do understand now where some of the negative feelings about Jews come from some of my interactions, because they are, well, they're a lot like people in the programming community where they're strictly adherent to certain rules, but then outside of that set of rules, anything goes. And I'm not saying that that is a classification of all of them in general. That's how they practice. Plus there's the whole, Jewish as in culture, Jewish versus religion, Jewish as a race. That's a whole spectrum of things that get clobbered under one word. But like, I have seen that attitude multiple times that seems as almost an amoral attitude. Like, as long as you follow the law, it doesn't matter what else you do, which I don't think that is necessarily, well, of course, as a chaotic good person, somewhere between chaotic neutral and chaotic good, hopefully more on the side of chaotic good, but as a person who is not very lawful, although I have my own sets of rules that I like to follow and whatnot. Anyway, let's see. So anyway, and honestly, like, I don't mind offending people. I do it all the time, but in that case, I honestly do not mean to offend anyone. I do not mean any disrespect. I'm just stating an observation that is from a limited point of view, and I am more than happy to own up to that, because I have no bones to pick with most belief systems. I think most belief systems are founded in good, and then people adapt them in a particular way that may not represent the belief system in the best light. But I think that belief systems are generally good. We need tradition. We need law. We need these things. I just believe that rules are for breaking. So, okay. So, this really could be two pull requests, but I'm just going to do it as one. And then we have, there's a Pi NV. Where was it? I just had an issue open about this. Oh, did somebody already comment on this? Do it, virtual. Take it. Assigned. I think I saw you in the comments earlier. Was that? Let me scroll back up. No, I didn't. Okay. I thought I saw the logo for somebody virtual earlier, but anyway. Oops. Do it. Okay, so where was my issue? Still trying. There we go. And then there was another issue that I saw here. Oh, I wanted to update the documentation. Okay, so 3 things I'm doing in this. Whoops. It's not what I meant to, not the hotkey I meant to hit. Is Nix Pathman add in favor of Webi path add. These were missed. And then the other thing was... And then, boom, boom, and then I need to do this one real quick. All right, and then we're gonna block the other shiller. I get to shill on my channel. You don't get to shill on my channel, Mr. Bot. Okay, yeah. Twitch is being a butt. I can't report the scam. Yeah, I reported it. Oh, standard error.dk and be scammed at above normal price? I want to do that. Does this exploit the browser bug that loads an invisible picture that takes over my machine? So did y'all hear about that? There was a bug with WebP parsing. This is why people should not write C programs. I rant about this all the time. Do not write in C. Do not write in C. Do not write in C. C is of the devil. There is no reason in the modern age. I'm sorry, Strager, because I think you write in C++ or something like that. I don't remember. I remember seeing on your, when I was looking at you earlier. But what was it? I think you code in one of the forbidden languages. Yes, C++. No reasonable, sane, and caring human should be writing in C or C++ because it's dangerous and it's arrogant. Because in order to write in one of those languages, you're basically saying, I'm smart enough not to make it so that your computer gets hacked with a virus or crashes. And no one's that smart. Not even Strager. But Strager probably has really good tools that help him to make that mistake far less often than the other 99.999% of people who use C++ or C. And I still need to check out Quicklint.js. I think you'd asked me if we could get this on Webi one time, and my answer to that would be, after looking at it, yes. Because I think I'd said something like, yeah, let me take a look. We don't actually have a request for that currently, do we? Quicklint.js. No, we don't. Okay, yeah. So if you want to do that, feel free. I would love to have it. I'm trying to remember. We just got to put a little asterisk by there. This program was written in C++ and will probably cause your computer to crash and get infected. That was my poor attempt at a sarcastic wink. If C++ is of the devil, how come it has 2 crosses in it? Touché. Touché. All right. Anyway. So, Pathman fixed, yes. And then this is going to go... Well, the Pathman part at least needs to go into the hotfixes. I might... Okay, I'm going to split the second one out into its own issue. Chore, Bat, Cruft. And this is why, because that should not go into a hotfix. So we're going to push this one. And I thought that I had that. I need a get essentials that sets a few things, like simple pushing by default. When you push, it creates the branch automatically. There's a get config option for that. Okay. And handlers from the very early days that we... Okay, so yeah, that's the responsible thing to do there. Okay, see, I did the responsible thing. I did make a second issue for it after all, because that one does need to be checked independently. So then I can just remove this, take that out of there. And then I don't know if this had anything of value in it. Yeah, whatever. Okay, cool. And so then I need to update the docs. So I think that the docs need to be on all of these. So this does not have the files section. But this is actually critically important. So what will this modify? This will modify .local opt pyenv. Oops. I actually don't remember what all it modifies. Really? Oh, I didn't do that here. I did that over here. Let me take a look. Okay, .local opt py. Really? Did I not? Let me go ahead and see what this does. pyenv shims, and then this one probably needs to be updated in all of the places that it is actually updated in. So, and then this is going to update .config envman path.env, of course. But then this one may explicitly modify either, let's see, bash profile, bash rc. Yeah. Okay, it does not modify that one. Config fish, config.fish. Does it modify this one? Yes. Okay. Okay. And that one's, so the reason that it's special, well, it's doing some special stuff. And then we need to see about the .zsh RC. Does that get modified as well? Yes, it does. Okay. And what about ZSH profile? Profile? No. Okay, so let me go check. To update or switch. Oh, this one doesn't have it. All right, what one does? We just did atomic parsley. Let me just grab it from here. Okay, did it actually modify .local opt pyenv? No. bin py? No. Okay, so it does not follow our normal Webi convention. Oh, and I didn't source the path. Let me source the path. IENV. Well, actually, I just want to do Webi Python 3. I did do, yeah, Webi host. Okay, so this is installing from the one that's updated. Okay. Isn't there a faster version of Python called Cython? I learned that today. I don't know how popular it is. Okay, so Python, you can think of Python as one of the few languages that has worked out well as a programming language. So most programming languages are implementation specific, and Python is not. Python, you can think of Python as more like a protocol, like HTTP is a protocol, or SMTP is a protocol. Python is a protocol that runs in a lot of places. So you can get various types of Python interpreters and Python compilers for everything from web plugins to microcontrollers. So Python has actually done well and good in this way. But there is some confusion because there is IronPython, which is a C# implementation of Python. There's Cython, which is just the normal implementation of Python. There's PyPy, which is the JIT implementation of Python. Let's see. And this one just, it cried about that, but otherwise shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, command-v Python. Python 3, Python 2. Okay, cool, great. This is working as I'd hoped. So pyenv actually functions a lot like Webi and having things installed in their own directory and yada, yada, yada. I wonder if there is any other folder in there that we should highlight. Let's see, it's got Git, it's got completions. I need to learn about completions. Well, I don't need to, but I'd like to learn about completions. Does anybody on the stream know about completions? Comp words, comp equals Python commands, word. Oh, this is smart. This is smart. Ooh. Okay, I get this. So Webi could do this. All right, this goes to another issue that somebody opened recently. All right, I gotta go soon. Hopefully I'll actually get my stuff that I was working on finished. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. This is actually what I think commands should do in the 21st century. Commands absolutely should have their own command to list their commands. I was talking with Ryan about this. Ryan the lion. He and I were talking about this a while back. And I was kind of imagining, and I've talked about this with the way that MikroTik switches, the way that they have a CLI, they have a shell that's on top of, it runs on Linux, but it's their own custom shell. So when you log in, when you SSH into the environment, you don't go into Bash or in, something else. You're locked into their shell. I'm sure there's a way to jailbreak out of it and get to the Linux system that's underneath, but you're locked into their shell, and their shell is very, very nice. It's vertically integrated. All their commands are there. All their flags are there. Like, everything is represented as a tree structure. It's very, very traditionally Unixy, or traditionally Unixy, not theoretically Unixy, because actual Unix didn't get implemented the way that it was theorized and hoped to be. But it's, yeah. And so the idea that a command can interactively help the shell that it's running in know what it's going to do next, I love this. I love this so much. And that's very, very simple. Somebody just opened up an issue about this today. Ooh. Let's see. So I am going to, let's get out of here real quick. Yeah. Okay, this one was what? This one was Bash, I think. That looks bashy. Or is this ZSH? No, this is ZSH. I'm just going to copy these in here to serve as an example, because I don't want someone to have to install PyEnv just to see what it looks like. I never realized how Pythonic fish is. And I will check comments in just a second. I don't know how to be cool, I guess is the way to put it. So if you feel free to coach me on how to be a better streamer, since y'all come from a true master. Probably would be something like be a better person, to which I'd have to say, pass. Grumposaurus. I'm going to copy these, and then I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to copy this. Actually, let's go this way. I like this just fine. We're gonna go a different route than I thought I was gonna go. We're gonna. All right. Having the command itself generate. All right. How PyEnv does completions whilst working on 7.2, and I love it. Command generates its own completions on the fly. Can fetch from the web while generating. Works across all shells at once, given that the outputs are correct. A perfect solution? Question mark? All right, so yeah, we could just yank this and literally do completions this way. I just have to learn how, for example, PyEnv does this, and I just follow what PyEnv is doing. Yeah, that works great. And I'm just gonna abbreviate this here. All right, so let me try out this PyEnv completions. Okay, yeah, you gave me a link there. I'll check that out in a second. I see a bunch of comments. I'll check them all out in a second. So completions, all right, sweet. So command is commands. All right. Let's try again. So install maybe. Okay, I don't understand what the format of. Okay, I would love to have the documentation for what these args are. So I'm not sure what arg1 ... does. Seems to have no effect when I use it. All right, let's just try this though. env cool. Oh, that's interesting. This doesn't just do... Huh. Okay, so we can see the completions are happening. I'm guessing it's up to the shell to do a big part of the completion. I don't know. I don't know how to understand that. But that's wicked cool. I'd love to implement it. It's way simpler than I thought it would be. I love it. So that's what I'll say with that. Now let me catch up on chat. I know that I hate bash completion, if that's what you mean. Not the built-in bash completion, but the extra crap. Well, don't use bash. If you're going to write scripts, use POSIX so that they actually run on Mac, Linux, and Docker. And if you're going to be in the terminal, by heaven's sake, don't use bash. What kind of masochist would use bash? No! Alright. PyEnv is really, really carefully thought out. A lot of the Python stuff is, and I appreciate when things are really well thought out like that. Python, in general, is well thought out. I don't like Python. Well, I do. Python is impractical and nobody should use it. But, that said, during its tenure, before the internet became so wildly popular and we needed network-enabled, multi-core enabled applications, Python was amazing. And I think there might still be some niches for it. Machine learning is certainly not one of them. Because if there's one thing that you don't want with machine learning, it's having to have 3 entire copies of multi-gigabyte data sets stored in RAM on a single core that can't process efficiently or quickly. That said, I know that that's part of how it's made its resurgence. I love Python. I revere Python. Please don't use Python. Surely somebody's informed you that you landed in a Primogen video, right? Yeah. So the funny thing, if he had just let the clip play 3 seconds longer, like literally he pressed pause on the clip in the same place basically everybody else in the comments pressed pause, because the next sentence, and this was in the Reddit post, the next sentence was it was a clarifying comment that basically, I agree with everything that he said. He's 100% correct in everything that he said, other than there was something he said that he was either incorrect about, but I think it was just a moutho. I think he just said the wrong word. So, in the same way that anybody would. But yeah, the context, and he also didn't know that it was a JavaScript podcast, right? So he looks at it and he says, oh, top-end devs, I don't know what this is. No, we were discussing JavaScript versus Go, so the entire thing was in the context of, compared to the rise of Node.js, well, not the entire thing, but in my mind at least, because Lane was actually confused about this as well. Rewatching the clip, I realized the way that Lane reacted. He and I didn't quite connect on the next 2 sentences, because I did a thing I do where sometimes I skip a sentence. So I said one sentence and I skipped a sentence that was just in my head, and then I said another sentence. So there was a little bit of that as well. But essentially, like in total, Lane understood. I believe that Lane understood me in total, and I believe that I understood him in total. But there was one bit was that he also did not entirely get that I was saying that Go routines they have no unique value in comparison to JavaScript in that first bit. Because then he responded, well, it's nice to have a background task. And I'm thinking, well, like, what does that have to do with anything? Because I get that Go routines do the background task. But before that, I said that this was in the context of Go routines as planned versus Go routines as implemented versus Go routines in Go version, I believe is 1.5 or 1.6, when they actually, so it took something like 5 to 10 years. I don't remember how long it was. It was a very long time between Go routines were implemented the way they were planned. So what they told people on the conference slide wasn't true for like the first 5 or 6 years. And so the unique value of Go routines that they were supposed to bring to the table ended up not, by the time it was implemented, it was no longer necessary. So there's probably a little bit too much history and context in my head that most people would not know the history of Go. And so, yeah, I totally understand how it got taken out of context, and I'm glad that it did, because, hey, it made the JavaScript Jabber podcast a little more popular for a weekend. So yeah, that was cool and interesting. All right, I see that you are giving me a link to ZSH completions, and I want to check it out. Let me see if I can get this thing. Okay. Oh no, this is other stuff. These are the meta framework. Yeah. ZSH framework. This is like meta completion stuff. Got it. Yeah, so I don't know exactly where they go, but I think that as part of that init, the PyEnv init, it injects a source to those various scripts. And I guess that Webi would... I don't want Webi to do that. I believe that there is a standard location where this stuff should go. And maybe the reason for these is that they allow you to just put it in a folder and then it gets right out of the folder. So what I would probably do in that case is I would bundle it with envman. So with envman, let me just pull this up. So config envman. So what it does, so there's load sh, right? And then there's load fish. And so what I would do is I would add completions dot whatever into here. I would do some sort of shell detection, and in one of these, probably completions.env. I don't know exactly how I will do it, because this particular loop doesn't work with what we just saw, because the completions, unlike envs, the actual completions do require actual script, because the envs are the same for every shell, no matter whether you have sh, bash, fish, zsh, ksh, whatever. Your aliases are always the same, and your exports are always the same. So, and sorry if I went through that too quickly. So aliases always look like this in every shell. Exports always look like this in every shell. But the completion syntax that was shown is different, because you actually use the functions and the part of the stuff that's in the shell. And it's weird to me that this actually had ZSH as a separate thing, because if I'm not mistaken, you should be able to just run the pyenv.bash in ZSH, and that should be, but maybe that's not the case because yeah, comp control. Okay, because bash doesn't have the same native. Yeah, complete, got it. Oh, whoops, did I pasted the wrong thing in between fish and bash. What did I do here? Hold on. What did I mess up? Complete. Whoops. End. Oh, whoops. Okay, this one, I'm glad that we went back to this, because now I see that somehow I'd copied too much. So this one, I must have copied up to the fish completions by mistake. All right. So this has comp reply. Okay, now I see why it's doing this, because each shell has its own special way of loading the completions. Okay, so it's dash dash and then word. Got it. That makes sense. Yeah, I would love to figure out what that was about. Anyway, this is not what I was here for. And this would be a good enhancement. Okay, let me check comments again. You've been inducted into the Order of Social Media Controversy on that one. So I've been inducted once before. So I was the first person to put ads in GitHub repos, or at least the first one to do it in a way that GitHub changed their... GitHub actually blocked me. And this was totally like, it was my well, what happened was this. I was putting it in my readmes. I was putting an ad for my company in all of my readmes. However, in my directory, there were a couple of forks to other repositories, a small number, that had open PRs on them. And so when I ran my script to go through all the readmes and add the ad for my company and then push them, there were 2 PRs in which the ad showed up in the PR because my edit was a documentation edit to the README. And that was not intentional. Without contacting me, without any sort of information, GitHub just blocked me. They just removed my ability to log in. They removed my repositories. They just took me down with no communication. And I was super pissed about that. Now, once I understood that somebody had reported that I put an ad in a PR, then that gave some context that was helpful, but I still think that it was the wrong thing to do because GitHub did not have any policy on what you're allowed to put in a README, right? And, we've seen this over time with people putting ads in the NPM install and the, whatever, like doing the shilling, but you have to. That's the thing. It's like open source is not going to run on donations. It's just not going to happen. You have to let people know about products and services you're offering, and you have to offer products and services. There are, 4 people on the entire internet that are able to independently run their projects off of donations. There's Evan View, and I don't know the names of anyone else, right? But there is a small, vanishingly small number of people that you can count on your fingers that are supported by donations. Now, people who are supported by donations, but there's actually just, one company that pays their bills, but they don't want to put the person on the payroll because then they have to do the health insurance and, maybe they're international and blah, blah, blah. There's that where it's a donation, but in reality, they're an employee of a company. That's a little bit more common. So you have to do something, but yeah, they of course they when they finally got into contact with me, they said I violated their policy, and I said, what policy? And then they had to go make up a policy because there was no policy. And so then they added to their policy that you can't put an ad to your business in your own repos. But yeah, so that was, and there was, and I think there was one other thing before that, but this was back when social media tech influencers weren't such a big deal on YouTube. And I think there was like a Hacker News or something where I got death threats. So this was very, very tame. What happened with Primogen. He responded very reasonably. All of his criticisms were perfectly valid within the context of only watching 30 seconds. But, you know, if he'd watched more on either side, then, you know, would have made sense. Yeah, could have capitalized on my 15 minutes of fame in a big way. Fish's compatibility, from what I remember, is easier for custom personal utils like this. Yeah, probably. Fish is designed. Fish. I would never recommend that anybody script in Fish. I think it's a dumb idea. Because you should be scripting in a POSIX shell that is actually going to be useful on Mac, Linux, and Docker. And Fish scripts are not. Fish is a wonderful interface as a human. Yes, their scripting language is better, but who cares, because it's not pre-installed, and they don't even have pre-built binaries that are easily installable for the various platforms. So I had some discussion with the author about getting this on Webi, and he's basically like, meh, we're not gonna offer the pre-built binary, even though he totally could have. It just because they were going to do the app image or whatever, and then I don't think that ever materialized. And he's like, we're not going to do this because we're going to do app image instead. And I was like, well, you could just do this now and it would work now, but whatever. Yeah, Bash and ZSH, I believe that there are some incompatibilities, which is why the Vim Essentials. So if we go into Vim Essentials, one of the very first things in Vim Essentials is Vim Shell. And what Vim Shell does is simply set shell equals bash in your Vim. And this is because there are a very small number of incompatibilities between bash and ZSH, and where ZSH is becoming a more common default shell, and certainly within Fish, if there is a script that does not that assumes that your default shell is going to be bash, and starts invoking without actually opening the proper interpreter, such as bash or ZSH or Fish first. Well, usually if they're expecting it to be interpreted in Fish or ZSH, they will. But also many scripts don't work if you're in a POSIX shell. So there are command scripts that are embedded in VimScript that they basically expect that it's bash. So when you do set shell equals bash, it means that unless the thing is invoking another shell, when it opens a shell, the shell that it opens will be bash regardless of what your current shell is, which is the correct behavior, because that is what plugin authors expect, and that's what you expect. So there is that. Let's see. I think I half expected you to call into Prime Stream the following day so you could appear and have a brief tech conversation with him. But the thing is, I don't know him. I'm a nobody, right? There's a couple of things I do that are pretty cool, that I'm proud of, that other people know about. But in general, I'm a nobody and he's a somebody. And so I don't expect him, like, I don't expect him to have me on his show. Well, first of all, I don't even know the format of his show. I've only watched a couple of his clips because he kind of, from my perspective, he came out of nowhere in the last 6 months. And maybe he's been around for years and years and years, but people started telling me about him, or I started seeing him on Twitter or whatever. So to me, he just kind of came out of nowhere. And he's got a very fun social personality, and I don't. I'm an a-hole. I gripe about things. I make angry PRs, and people block me on GitHub and Twitter. So I don't necessarily have the same, like, we're not at the same level. All right, let me get back to this real quick. Okay. Now, what's the one that I've had to update for Windows? I think it was Bat. Let's go look at the Bat README real quick, because Windows users. Yeah, this is what I want to do under Files. So, See, I want to get these sections shorter, and I wanted to add... Oh... maybe this section just does... I'm going to do it with 4. I want this section to be smaller. And then I think that Xcode now has a new argument. So Xcode select, install, I think it's like -- agree. Okay, let me look this up real quick. Xcode. Select. Agree automatically. There is a way to do this. And it's changed over the years. This looks like an old blog post. Do we have a date on this thing before I go any further? Install. So this is an older way to do it. The license one. I've done that way in the past. Okay, that's an older way to do it. There is a newer way to do it. I like Stack Overflow because it often gets updated. That's 2016. No, that's the old way. There is a new way to do this. I am all but sure of it. I think if you... Xcode select. Install. Sometimes I wish we could sort results by recency. Yeah, it's just within the last few years. It's not something that's been around for 5 years or more. It's something that's maybe 2021. I could see that. I don't think this is it. Well, let me just try running it real quick. And I don't know if we actually need... Yeah. All right, I'm not going to worry about that. It'll come up again later. And then I wanted to add, what was it? Lib LZMA or something like that. Okay. I think we fixed it in all of those places. I'll have to double check on that one. Lib LZMA dev. Let me just make sure that that is the correct name. Got too many things open. I don't know if that's really necessary, but kind of might as well be there. BZ2. kind of put these a little further back, actually. If we've got a... And I'm going to duplicate this line because... No offense, but the developers that are installing Python, a lot of them, they could probably accidentally not copy a backslash correctly in a hurry, and this is something where it's like, yeah, these ones are, I don't know. What does it look like now? Let me go to the page right now and see what it looks like right now. Anyway, spam the star on GitHub. Spam it. Just make sure that you hit it an odd number of times. So either once or 3 times or 5 times, but not 2 times or 4 times. Because that won't help me personally or anyone else. Let me throw the next in there so I can see. Yeah, okay. All right, that's about the right cutoff. No, sorry, I'm gonna do it anyway. If somebody thinks that's a bad idea, let me know, but this is what I want it to look like. Okay, that looks terrible. That is not what I want. It's not the look I'm going for. See, I just... Ugh. Files. Cheat sheet. I might need to move the cheat sheet section up, because I think that with having the files section there and then the special install notes, the cheat sheet kind of gets buried on a lot of these. Or maybe there needs to be an index or something. I think when Ryan has more time, one day never, I would like another pass on the site, because it's decent, but it's not as great as we want it to be. Anyway. All right, I've got only minutes left. Python. Oh, I probably need to change those ever so slightly. Oh, whoops. All right, let's go fix this in all 3 places. So we need to fix it in PyEnv at 4 places. I'll grab this section again. Python 2. And I think it's fine to the Python 3. So hopefully I made installing Python easier for one of you. Let's see. I understand that's a rational person's analysis of the situation. Ignore it, not a big deal. But this is in response to you asking for tips on being cool. All right. Fair. Thank you. I appreciate that. Taking that under advisement. Did that 30-second clip in the Prime's video drive some engagement for the podcast? So, okay. The JavaScript Jabber podcast is more popular than Prime again. Or at least it was. It's hard to say. JavaScript Jabber is the longest running JavaScript podcast. It has been running since before JavaScript was cool. So Chuck and I had a conversation back at a Ruby meetup when Node.js or jQuery or something, it was way back. Nobody cared about JavaScript. And he wanted to do a JavaScript podcast. And so he has been the host of it, not always a participant, on and off throughout the years. And I have been a participant, not always, but there's always been either me or Chuck on that podcast for over 10 years now. So, but the thing is, the podcast is not social because people listen to it and the engagement hovers right around 0. So it generates well, at one point, it was generating ad revenue enough that Chuck could live off of. But then as tech Twitter and tech YouTube were starting to take off, there was also a bunch of social justice movements. And he basically refused to condemn someone. So this woman made a post on Twitter. A bunch of people started attacking her. One of her male friends then expertly maneuvered the attacks away from her and drew the attention to himself. In so doing, he got some of his upcoming book publishing deals canceled. Chuck did not understand what was going on and refused to blame the person without understanding what the situation was, because it all happened, in a matter of a day, right? Then, because Chuck essentially said, I'm not going to condemn him because I don't even know what happened, I need to investigate it, is essentially what he said. And the response was, if you need to investigate it, then you're, whatever type of bigot was the flavor of the week for bigotry that week. And then Chuck had his conferences canceled and had most of the advertisers canceled for JavaScript Jabber. Then, shortly after that, Corona happened. So JavaScript Jabber was the most popular podcast for JavaScript up until that cancellation. Because then when he got canceled, they also reached out not only to his advertisers, but also to other people on the show, and then kind of gave them the same thing. It's like, you have to condemn Chuck, otherwise we're going to cancel you. And so a lot of people left the podcast network, because it's not just JavaScript Jabber, it's a bunch of them. Which is now, the podcast network has now been renamed Top End Devs. But so anyway, a lot of, I don't know where it's at right now. I think it's getting back to that. But at one point, it was sustaining his livelihood in a decent way. So I guess that's, but I wasn't involved in that conflict at all. I somehow just, I don't know. I wasn't involved in that one at all. I got zero. No one claimed they were going to cancel me for anything. But then again, I'm not that popular on social media. I don't, like, it's not worth it. If you looked at my follower count, I don't think you'd say, oh, we get some real sway with him. But yeah. So JavaScript cool? When was that? That is the correct answer, my friend. That is the correct answer. I'm asking because React content recently has been a hot topic for content creators over the past couple months. There's been controversy about whether or not reaction streamers tend to do harm to the creator of the given content that they're featuring. For instance, did anyone feel as though Primogen did your content any harm? No. So the people that were doing harm were the people that were malicious on Reddit. Primogen, again, he didn't really do due diligence on it. He just did, he's in the middle of a stream. He watches 30 seconds of the clip and he makes comments. And his comments for the 30 seconds of the clip that he watched were on point. So, and he was very non-abrasive, right? So I don't think anybody I don't know where the case would be that he did any harm. But the people that were on Reddit that were just being a-holes, I mean, that's welcome to the internet. No news there. But all in all, yeah, it drove a bunch of traffic. A lot of the traffic that it drove were just people watching that 30-second clip, though. There were people that went back and watched the whole episode. So, I mean, all in all press is good press. Whether people love it or hate it, it drives engagement. So, great. But one where I noticed the reaction seemed like it did more harm than good was that guy who did the Richmond north of Richmond, because they sunk his official video with reactions. So if you searched up the video, there'd be a page of reactions, and it was difficult to find the actual music video. That's where I think that the reactions did harm, because nobody had anything unique to say. They were literally just listening to the song and then saying, yeah, I get that. This is based. This man's real. It's like, thanks for your valuable contribution. Like, this being the okay sign. I've come to realize that apparently this symbol can mean different things in different cultures, but this being for, like, okay. But yeah, since I said that with such sarcasm, I felt the need to clarify that just in case it came off as a rude gesture. All right, well, I gotta go. That's my alarm to tell me that I've been here too long. I've had fun. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate the comments, the chit chat, the rants and the raves. I reject the premise that means anything other than okay. I have been to one country where it definitely meant something other than okay. Like, I've personally visited a country where that did not mean okay. It was a very rude and offensive gesture. All right, so I will go ahead and I need to get this through as a hotfix, so I'm going to take my 2 minutes to do that. But thanks for staying up with me and having good times. All right, I think this is all good. This is just a documentation update, so at worst, it's not going to break anything. Okay, doc. Pi star. Update files and extra install steps. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna do git branch dash D hotfix, git switch dash C hotfix, git push dash F. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Boom. All right. All right, hotfix is deployed. So now if we visit the main site, env, we should see updated files section. And then let me just go ahead and just totally tank these real quick. Kind of undo the install. I guess the PyEnv should come after those. Anyway, so now I have successfully removed PyEnv according to this right here. Other than that, I need to go ahead and update the path as well. So PyEnv, let's get rid of that. Okay, so now I'm going to say open up new shell, Webi Python 3. And I want to see that this installs to completion. And then let's try that over here as well. So Python 3. If anybody wants to follow along at home, feel free to do so. Cool. I hate to use words like I'll pull this in tomorrow, because maybe tomorrow something comes up, but I will do my best to do that. All right, update PyEnv docs, and then I'm going to throw this over in the Webi channel. Boom, boom, boom. Wait, what was this one? This one got... Okay, this one's already in. All right, right. Because I updated the examples, and then it turns out one of the examples was bad. Closed via number 70. Whoops. 702 in hotfix. All right. But isn't this so cool? All checks have successfully passed. I mean, this one I just removed stuff, so hopefully it would. But, you know, it accidentally delete a line sometimes. That one I do need to actually check out a little bit more before I put this in, because there is the potential here for something to actually break. I am removing functions and files. Now I've checked that these functions are not used. That was the only place that function was used. The bat extension isn't used because I think I only used it for 2 or 3 installers in the very, very beginning, in the original days when I was first adding Node to Windows. And then the original bat installer for Node was hard-coded at version 16. That's what, well, if we take a look at this, because we remove it here, now you can see, oh no, V12. Holy moly, wow, some years ago, huh? So it was hard-coded at V12. So I don't think that any of this has been used since then. That was a do nothing file. This was just documentation. Yeah, and so on. Now did we actually get stuff? Okay. I was hoping to get to this one today. I did not. There's a lot of stuff to go through. Plus, I just wanted to relax. I just needed to chillax and get ready for bed. Let me finish my Mountain Dew on that note. All right. So like, sub, follow if you want to. Let the one who guide you. There's the like, sub, follow, my Bob. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Thanks for chilling with me tonight. Have a good one. Whatever you do, don't stay safe. Live life dangerously. Live it well. Live a life worth living. Do not stay safe. Unless, I mean, I guess you don't have it. No, I'm not going to back down on that. Live dangerously. Okay, and then who's online? So Avir's, I don't remember Avir's, but it looks like we're going to raid Avir's. Ivers. Myers. All right, get ready for the raid, folks. Coming at you live in 5, 4, 3, 2,